Every single week, plumbers across the country walk into homes and fix the exact same problems over and over again. And the truth is, most of those service calls never needed to happen in the first place. After 3 decades in the trade, I can tell you that about 80% of the emergency calls I have responded to came down to just a handful of repeated homeowner mistakes. Today, I am walking you through 6 of the most common ones that keep plumbers in business and showing you how to stop making them for good. Number 5 is one that shocks people because it seems so basic, yet it leads to some of the most expensive damage I have ever seen. And stick around for the bonus tip at the end, because it is a simple habit that can save you thousands. The first mistake that plumbers absolutely love seeing is using chemical drain cleaners instead of proper tools. I get it. Your sink is draining slow, you run to the store, and that bottle with the aggressive label promises to destroy any clog in minutes. It sounds easy. Pour it in, walk away, problem solved. But here is what that bottle does not tell you. Those chemical drain cleaners, the ones with lye or sulfuric acid, they do not just eat through clogs. They eat through your pipes too. If you have got older galvanized steel lines, those chemicals accelerate corrosion from the inside out. If you have got PVC, the heat generated by the chemical reaction can soften and warp the joints. And if you have got copper, you are looking at pitting and pinhole leaks down the road. I have pulled sections of pipe out of walls that look like Swiss cheese, and every single time the homeowner told me they had been using chemical cleaners regularly for years. The real solution is so much simpler and cheaper in the long run. Get yourself a good plunger, and I mean a flange plunger for toilets and a cup plunger for sinks. Pick up a hand-crank drain snake, sometimes called a drum auger, for about $20 to $30 at any hardware store. That snake will clear 90% of household clogs without damaging a single thing. For kitchen sinks, sometimes all you need is to remove the P-trap underneath, clean it out by hand, and put it back. Takes about 10 minutes. Those chemical cleaners might cost you $8 to $12 a bottle, but after a few years of regular use, you could be looking at hundreds of dollars in pipe repairs. The tool that actually fixes the problem costs a fraction of that and lasts forever. The second mistake that generates enormous revenue for plumbers is over-tightening connections and fittings. This one is completely understandable because human instinct tells us that tighter means more secure. But in plumbing, there is a point where tight becomes too tight, and that is where the problems start. When you crank down too hard on a compression fitting, you can crush the ferrule, and deform the brass, which actually creates a leak path instead of preventing one. When you over-tighten a supply line to a faucet or toilet, you can crack the plastic nut or strip the threads entirely. I have seen people snap the porcelain base of a toilet by bearing down too hard on the closet bolts, and that is a $300 mistake before you even count the labor to replace it. The rule of thumb in plumbing is hand tight plus a quarter turn. For most compression fittings, you tighten by hand until snug, then give it 1/4 to 1/2 turn more with a wrench. That is it. For toilet supply lines, hand tight is usually all you need. If it drips, give it just a tiny bit more. You should never be white-knuckling a wrench on a residential plumbing connection. If it feels like you are fighting it, something is wrong. Either the threads are crossed, the fitting is the wrong size, or you are missing a washer. Stop. Take it apart and check. A little restraint here saves a lot of money and frustration. The third mistake that keeps plumbers booked solid is ignoring slow drains until they become full clogs. A slow drain is your plumbing system waving a flag at you, saying, hey, something is building up in here, and it is only going to get worse. But most homeowners just live with it. They wait a little longer for the sink to empty. They stand in an inch of water during their shower and think, I will deal with it later. Later almost always means a complete blockage at the worst possible time, like Thanksgiving morning or right before a house full of guests arrives. And that is when you are calling a plumber for emergency service, which can cost double or triple the normal rate. A slow drain is almost always a partial clog that is easy to fix early. Pull out the stopper or drain cover, remove the hair and gunk by hand, or with a simple plastic drain cleaning tool that costs about $3, and flush it with hot water. For kitchen sinks, a slow drain often means grease buildup in the P-trap. Remove it, clean it, reinstall it. If you catch a slow drain within the first week, it is usually a 5-minute fix with zero cost. Wait 3 months, and you could be paying a plumber $150 to $600 to snake your main line. By the way, if you're finding this advice helpful, you should know it's just a small sample of what I've put into my new guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It's packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let's continue. The fourth mistake I see constantly is using the wrong tape or sealant on threaded connections. This is one of those areas where a little bit of knowledge makes a huge difference, but most homeowners have never been taught the basics. Here's what I mean. You have probably seen white Teflon tape, and maybe you have even used it on a leaky shower head or a garden hose connection. But not all Teflon tape is the same, and not every threaded connection even needs tape in the first place. White Teflon tape is the standard for most household water connections. It is typically about 3.5 mils thick and works fine for basic fittings. But if you are working on a gas line connection, you absolutely must use yellow Teflon tape, which is thicker, about 4 mils, and specifically rated for gas. Using the wrong one on a gas line is not just a mistake, it is a safety hazard. Now, here is where it really gets people. The tape has to be wrapped in the right direction. You wrap it clockwise around the male threads when you're looking at the end of the fitting. If you wrap it backwards, it bunches up and unravels as you screw the fitting in, which does nothing to seal the joint. 3 to 4 wraps is plenty. More than that, and you can actually prevent the fitting from threading properly. For larger connections or joints that need extra reliability, pipe dope, which is a thread sealant compound, works even better than tape alone. Some professionals use both together. And one more thing. Compression fittings and flare fittings do not use tape or dope at all. They seal metal to metal. Adding tape to those connections can actually prevent a proper seal. Knowing which connection type you are working with saves you from creating the very leak you are trying to prevent. The fifth mistake, and this one genuinely surprises me every time, is not knowing where the main water shutoff is. I cannot tell you how many times I have walked into a home with water spraying everywhere, a burst supply line, or a failed water heater, and the homeowner is standing there in a panic asking me where to turn off the water. Every second that water is flowing unchecked, it is soaking into your subfloor, your drywall, your cabinets, your belongings. In just a few minutes, you can go from a simple repair to tens of thousands of dollars in water damage and mold remediation. Your main shutoff valve is typically located where the water line enters your house. In warmer climates, it might be on an exterior wall or near the front of the house by the meter. In colder climates, it is usually in the basement, crawl space, or utility room. It is either a gate valve, which looks like a round wheel, or a ball valve, which has a lever handle. Ball valves are more reliable because they shut off with a quarter turn. Gate valves can seize up if they have not been turned in years. And that brings me to the critical point. Go find your shutoff valve today. Turn it off and back on to make sure it actually works. If it is stuck or does not fully stop the water flow, replace it now while it is not an emergency. I also recommend labeling it clearly so anyone in your household can find it. This 5-minute task is genuinely the most valuable thing you can do for your home's plumbing safety. The sixth mistake that rounds out our list is treating the toilet like a trash can. Plumbers have a saying: nothing goes in the toilet except the 3 P's: pee, poop, and paper. And by paper, we mean toilet paper only. Not paper towels, not facial tissue, not cotton balls, and absolutely not so-called flushable wipes. I need to be very clear about this because the marketing on those wipes is incredibly misleading. Flushable wipes do not break down the way toilet paper does. Toilet paper is designed to start dissolving within seconds of hitting water. Flushable wipes can hold together for weeks or even months inside your drain line. They snag on rough spots in older cast iron pipes. They catch on tree roots that have crept into sewer lines, and they build up into blockages that can back raw sewage into your home. I have pulled clumps of these wipes out of sewer lines that were the size of a football, and the homeowner always says the same thing. But the package said they were flushable. Beyond wipes, I have pulled out dental floss, cotton swabs, feminine hygiene products, medication, and even small toys. Every one of those items is a potential clog waiting to happen. Keep a small trash can with a lid right next to the toilet. It is the simplest fix for one of the most expensive and disgusting plumbing problems you can have. A single sewer line backup can cost anywhere from $200 to over $1,000 to clear. And if it damages your flooring or walls, you are looking at much more than that. And now for the bonus tip that professional plumbers swear by. Once a year, do a full plumbing walkthrough of your entire house. Most homeowners never look at their plumbing until something goes wrong, but a simple annual inspection catches small problems before they become big ones. Here is what to check. Open every cabinet that has plumbing behind it, under kitchen sinks, bathroom vanities, laundry connections, and look for any signs of moisture, discoloration, or dripping. Check your water heater for rust at the base or any pooling water underneath. Look at exposed pipes in your basement or crawl space for green corrosion on copper or white mineral buildup on joints. Flush every toilet and make sure it stops running completely. Turn on every faucet and check under the sink while the water is flowing. Test your main shutoff valve to confirm it still turns freely. This whole walkthrough takes about 20 minutes once a year, and it is exactly what plumbers do when they charge you for an annual inspection. The difference is you are doing it yourself for free, and you are catching the leaks, the corrosion, and the failing parts before they cost you real money. One slow drip under a sink can cause hundreds of dollars in water damage and mold if it goes unnoticed for months. 20 minutes a year keeps you ahead of the game. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It goes way deeper than we can in a single video, with 85 pages covering everything from clearing any clog to replacing your own water heater. If you want to stop wasting money on simple fixes, this book is for you. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.